Welcome to A Heart for Home Education. My name is America, home educator to 3, ages 9, 7, and 5. Today I'm going to be sharing with you an update on how our year is going at the mid-year mark, how our family subjects are going, how our morning basket is going, and how our individual subjects are going. So please stay tuned if you want to hear how our year is going. So I don't think I have updated you on anything since my term 1 update, and so I have a lot to update on. So we came back feeling refreshed after the holiday break, and we picked up right where we left off term 2 before Christmas schooling started. But we have made some changes, and so I'm going to share those with you right now. First up is our morning basket. So our morning basket always has our Bible time in it, and hymn singing and devotion and things like that. But I would say this time has been the highlight of our school coming back from holiday break. So during the holiday break, I looked over our resources and what we were using and kind of assessed if they were working or if we liked them and all of those types of things. Because it is important to me for us to enjoy our resources. And if something is not working or if we don't like something, I don't necessarily feel obligated to continue on using that resource if none of us are enjoying it. So I'm going to share what we've been using for our Bible time. Now, we just read straight from the Bible, but it was getting a little difficult for my husband to do his days of Bible reading and me to do my days, and I was just struggling to help the kids make meaning of the passages. The resource that I had picked out to use to help with that was the Nancy E. Gantz books. But the format of those, the writing is great. I love the content. They are really solid books, but the format of them is what I was struggling with. It was a struggle to read the Bible and include some of the Nancy E. Gantz material. So I would just read the Bible and have the children narrate, and then either we wouldn't read the commentary at all and just leave it at that, which I think is good, but I also think with the ages of my children, I wanted a little more support in leading them in an expository and gospel-centered study of scripture. And so I came across this book. This is Long Story Short by Marty Machowski. Machowski is the author of Theology and Wonderful and the Advent study that we did this year. So I really love his studies and I love how he writes towards children. He doesn't dumb anything down, but he just helps to exposit the scriptures so that the children can understand them. This is a devotion that walks you through scripture and also provides some commentary at the end. So how we've been doing our morning basket is this. We do a lesson, and I think these are so closely aligned with the Charlotte Mason style of teaching Bible. So it will have you recall what the last story was about, and then it will have you read straight from scripture. And so we are doing Exodus, and we've been doing that all year. And then after that portion, he doesn't have this in here, but I have the children narrate back to me what we read in the story. And then he has a section of commentary where it says, think about it some more. And he kind of expounds on what we read and makes meaning of it. And then he also has some questions to lead the family through. And I have found this to just be an amazing, amazing resource. This has been exactly what I've been looking for to add to our Bible time, and I have so enjoyed the content of this, the structure of this, the questions, how gospel-focused it is, and my children have enjoyed it too, and it is very easy for myself to pick up or my husband to pick up. It has been a blessing to our family. So it has 5 days of lessons per week and an opening of what the theme of the week will be, and so I just started where we were in the Exodus story, so it's kind of in the middle of the book. I believe this is a study through the Old Testament. I don't think it really says what it goes through, but it looks like there's a lot of stories from the Old Testament in it, but it also ties into the New Testament. So we are reading through Exodus, but it will have us jump forward to Galatians or a gospel and connect Exodus into the life of Christ and what Christ came to do. So overall, we have been loving this, and this has been a highlight of our morning basket. We've also been continuing to use Truth and Grace, a memory book, for our scripture memory and for our biblical-based memory work. So we are memorizing the 10 Commandments, and I loosely use their catechism for boys and girls, but I also am using the New City Catechism, and we use the songs from there and also the scripture from here. And I just like how simple this is, where I'm not reaching for a bunch of different materials to try to get our memory work done. So this has been very joy-filled for us to use this. And then we finished the Christian Heroes Then and Now Mary Slessor book. And then we have picked up David Livingstone. This is Africa's Trailblazer. My children love, love, love these books, and we love hearing these inspirational, encouraging, faith-filled stories. And so this is just a staple in our morning basket, and we've been enjoying the David Livingstone one. I have particularly enjoyed this story as well, and I've loved how they've tied into each other, where we're learning about geography and history and virtues of the faith, all in one book. So we read this each morning as well. For poetry memorization, we are using the Harp and Laurel Wreath, and right now we are memorizing Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. And then something that I thought about a lot over the holiday break was focusing more on incorporating music into their education. Now, we sing a lot of songs, but I realized that I was not giving them direct musical instruction. And so I actually sing. I am a singer, and so I do have a basic knowledge of music, and I also do play the piano, but not as proficiently as I would like to. So it was kind of my goal to focus on bringing a musical element into our education. So that fits into our morning time. So we sing through our catechism song as well as a hymn, but I don't just play a hymn on the speaker. I do that, but I don't just do that. I will time out the songs, and we will go through and keep the beat of the song and say the words on beat to the song, and then we will add in the pitches. I will also have the children match pitch with me, and we have been playing some games from Children of the Open Air, which is a Charlotte Mason approach to teaching singing, and she is right here on YouTube. Her videos are a little bit older, but they're still useful, so I will just watch the video myself and get the concept of the game or the lesson, and then just go and implement that with my kids during our morning basket. They have been loving it. They have been enjoying it so much. I've been enjoying it so much to have regular time to sing with them. So our hymn this term or this month, I'm not really sure which, is A Mighty Fortress, and so we've been singing that a lot. We've been listening to the Getty's version of that a lot, and it's just really ignited and sparked a love of singing and a love of music and a love of this hymn in our family. I feel like we're all going around singing it all the time, and when we sing it at church, the kids are really excited to hear their song at church. So that's been our morning basket time. We are loving that. So that wraps up the updates to our morning basket. It has been so much fun to just be in complete control of what resources we're using and not feel like we are falling behind or there's some standard that we're not meeting, because we are reading really great books consistently, and we have been enjoying these resources and really diving into them and learning so much from them. Up first is history. We are still using Story of the World. We are right on track with that, which I was a little worried about because we took a break from most of our readings during December to read our Christmas read alouds, and we have just picked right back up. And since we didn't have co-op, it only started today. Today is the first day back to co-op. So I had several weeks to get in extra history lessons so that we are not behind, because I do have an end date in mind for our school year. So I would like to have most of our resources finished by then. So these right now are our history reads. We are reading Story of the World and Our Little Athenian Cousin of Long Ago. So after we read Story of the World and the children narrate, we read Our Little Athenian Cousin of Long Ago. And this has been very fun to read, to get a glimpse into ancient Greece, and the children have really been enjoying this one. We are also reading the Iliad. I am reading an abridged version with my son at bedtime. I looked through it and it just didn't seem like my younger two would benefit much from hearing it now. I'm sure they would, but they wouldn't enjoy it. And so I want to wait for a later date to read it with them. But I am reading the Rosemary Sutcliffe version with my oldest at bedtime, and we are both really enjoying it. He really understands the story, he likes it, he enjoys hearing about all of the battles. So that originally was part of our full history curriculum, but I've just decided to read that to my 9-year-old, and that is going really well. So these are our Monday reads. This is what we read on Monday together, and this is the history part of our curriculum, and we are really enjoying this. On Tuesdays, this is kind of our science stream, and we are reading Among the Pond People still and Men of the Mississippi. Both of these have paired really well together for a living science and nature study curriculum. We have just enjoyed these quite a bit. My children love these stories. I get some really great narrations out of these. This is also a great read, and we are loving how both of these at times are talking about turtles. So it's a very turtle heavy year, but we are really enjoying these resources. And there's not much to update other than we are enjoying this and really liking these. Now, our USA Day has been a little bit more of a struggle. It's been a little more clunky, but I have found some things that we are liking, and I've kind of left behind some things that we're feeling a little too analytical and taking my kids out of that poetic mode of knowledge where they're just soaking in what is good and true and beautiful and really good stories. So for USA Day, we are using This Country of Ours. And as I go through the chapters, if I approach a chapter that I know we have a picture book on or a Delaire's book, I will jump over and use that instead. So we probably will not finish this particular resource by the end of our school year, but it has been a good way to guide us through the story of our country, but I'll use supplemental resources as needed. And then this has been our read aloud for USA Day. It is The Cabin Faced West. We finished up Sarah Plain and Tall, and then started in with this one. This one's been okay. I haven't loved it. I believe this was recommended by Beautiful Feet Books and maybe Sunlight, but this has been okay. I'm waiting for it to pick up. It hasn't really gripped us yet, but it's such a short book that I'm sure we'll get through it and hopefully find some good out of it. We finished up this book, Children of the Wind and Water, and I have another one that is Children of the Earth and Sky that we'll do after we do this. Since we finished this one, I wanted to jump in and zoom in a little bit more on a particular tribe and a particular chief. So this is Tecumseh, the Shawnee War Chief. This is by Jane Flesher. I found this and a set of others thrifted, so I don't know if these books are still out there, but this is kind of a living book about the story of this chief. And so the kids have really enjoyed this. I think enjoyed is the wrong word. They have liked hearing this story, but they've struggled with a lot of the content in the story. I think that's understandable as children navigate how, hey, we're Native Americans, we're American Indians, and taking it personally, how some of these things happened. So we've been walking through that and navigating that, but overall they've been engaged in this story and have liked it. And I'm really surprised and impressed that I thrifted these books and they've been so quality. So we have been liking this. And so these have been our 3 Wednesday USA Day reads. So that's another thing. I switched to USA Day from Friday to Wednesday, and that has helped quite a bit because there are more moving parts. We do some more USA Day memory work like the Pledge of Allegiance and the Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem. And so all of those moving parts felt easier to tackle on a Wednesday rather than a Friday. I don't know if I'm the only homeschooling mom that by Friday I'm running out of steam. I'm running out of energy to do all of the things. So it's been good to have it on Wednesday. Something else for our USA Day is we have been doing picture study. This is the Thomas Cole study from Riverbend Press. And so he was an American painter from the Hudson River School. And so we have been really liking the Thomas Cole paintings and doing picture study with those and incorporating it into our USA Day. On Tuesdays, we also read Wind in the Willows, and I also try to read that one more time throughout the week, but Wind in the Willows right now is our literature read aloud. We have liked it. We have not loved it. It hasn't really gripped any of us I know a book really has their attention when they're begging me to read more and they're begging me to read it at different times in the day. And this just hasn't been that, but they have enjoyed it. When I pick it up, they don't groan or grumble or complain. They do like it, but we don't necessarily love it. But we're going to keep reading it. We should be done with it by the time we reach the end of term 2. And then on Friday, we also do some literature. So we have started the children's Shakespeare. I was so surprised at how much we all loved it. The first story we read was A Winter's Tale. We just loved that story. We loved it. And so that has been my Shakespeare audio book read for this month. I'm trying to listen to a Shakespeare play every single month this year. And so this month has been A Winter's Tale, and it's been really enjoyable to get this story of it as well as the audio production version of it. And then this is just kind of a placeholder because we will also read a fairy tale on Fridays as well. So we're either doing the Shakespeare or a fairy tale. We've read out of the Grimm's book. We've read out of the Hans Christian Andersen. We've read out of some of the Minalima graphic fairy tales, which are my favorite. And then the Blue Fairy book by Andrew Lang. So we are just rotating through Shakespeare and fairy tales and Wind in the Willows on Fridays. What has really gripped my children's attention with our literature reads is we have been reading through the Narnia series. We've read through The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe multiple times, but for some reason, whenever I've picked up any of the other books to move on to the next stories, they just haven't been interested. But for some reason, right after Christmas, I picked up The Magician's Nephew, and they devoured it. We read it within like a week. They just loved that story. I've already read it, but it was so fun to read it with them. They just loved hearing the origin story of Narnia, and so that really captured their attention. And then I was ready to move on to the next one in the series, but they wanted to read through The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe again. So we are doing that again, and that's just happening whenever they ask me to read a book. That's usually in the afternoon or after dinner. After my husband reads Little Pilgrim's Progress, I will often read Narnia to them as well. So I anticipate going through the rest of those books while I have their attention, and hopefully we can get through those. And that's just been a nice and surprising addition to our curriculum this year. Something that we've added as a family, but the kids do individually, is typing. We've added in some typing classes. The kids are really enjoying learning how to type and learning how to use the computer. And I have been using typing.com, which are free typing lessons. They have been excellent quality lessons, and I'm really surprised that they're free, but that's what we've been using, and we've been enjoying those. For our handicrafts, in the fall, we were big on knitting and crocheting, and I am still big on knitting, but the kids have moved on, and my daughter has picked up hand sewing, inspired by her grandma, who is amazing at sewing. So she has been working a lot on her hand sewing and creating all kinds of projects. And my son is also interested in that as well. He's also interested in flint knapping. He wants to make his own spear. If anyone knows anything about flint knapping, has any resources for kids, please let me know. That is like chiseling away at stone. If you have any ideas for that, please let me know. And then for St. Valentine's Day, I'm going to get the kids a candle making kit so that we can make our own candles together. That will kind of be another handicraft that we will be working on this term. And then about the last 20 minutes of that hour, I'm giving devoted attention to my 7-year-old for her reading lessons. Okay, now for the big changes that I have made for our individual subjects. I'm going to start with my oldest and say that we are still using the reading program, the Black Belt reading program by Katie Huller, who is here on YouTube. Her program has been phenomenal, and I am so grateful to her program for how much work she put into that and how much it has helped us. And so I have loved her approach. I've appreciated it. I just am so grateful that we are where we are. If you would like more information on our reading journey, I have posted a video on our Charlotte Mason reading journey, but at this point I have more to say. And so if you would like another follow-up video to that, I would love to share, but just let me know if you would be interested in that. So for my 3rd grader, we are doing that curriculum still. And what I felt like we were ready to add in is learning language arts through literature. This is a tried and true book that has been around for decades. It teaches children about language arts through literature. And so we have started this after the new year. What I love about this is that it is all in one book. We don't have to chase down the phonics and writing book and the copy workbook and the handwriting book and all of the other elements that go along with that. It is all here. The copy work is here, the handwriting is here, the grammar and the writing lessons, they're all here. This has been so gentle, so lovely, so simple. And so really our language arts time together is reading from the Black Belt reading program for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then doing this for 5 to 10 minutes. And then he reads one of the reading selection choices from Learning Language Arts Through Literature for 10 minutes or so. So it feels like short little bursts of activity, but it all is all encompassing in his language arts area of study. So he just finished The White Stallion, and when we started this, I didn't show him the cover because for some reason it's girly. I did not appreciate that. So I just started open like this, and then once he got into the story, I let him see what it was. And he loved this book, and he did excellent reading it. There's not too many readers scheduled in Learning Language Arts Through Literature, so I'm on the hunt for books of this level. If you have any ideas for me, this would be 3rd grade, early reading. This one doesn't have very much text on it. But if you have any ideas, let me know, because we are looking for more things to read. This next change is something that I am struggling to share, because I fought for so long to make this curriculum work for us. And it's not that it wasn't working, it's that it did not work with our schedule. I could not devote the time that it required to these lessons. I needed something that was more independent. We have had to drop Math with Confidence 3. I love that curriculum. I truly do. There is nothing wrong with it other than I cannot devote that much time, and the lessons are totally dependent on the teacher. My son was doing the independent review pages by himself, but there's just no way around doing the lesson with them. And as much as I would love to be able to sit and do that lesson with him because I enjoy them, we can't fit it in. When I was trying to kind of cling to that curriculum and not let it go because I loved it, the rest of our day was just struggling because I was not having time to do our family subjects, all of the subjects that to me really matter. It matters to read good books. It matters to learn about history and to read fairy tales and Shakespeare and all those things. Those things really matter. And I knew that this was the piece that needed to change. It was kind of the only piece that could change in order to free up more time for our family time and singing together and doing our calendar work and memory work and all of those wonderful things that we want to do together. And so I have had to let go of 3rd grade Math with Confidence, and we have picked up Christian Light Education Math 3. I have looked into most of the math curriculums, and I kind of knew what wouldn't work to switch to, and what I wanted and didn't want. And I thought that I might switch back to Math Mammoth, but the part of Math Mammoth that I didn't like was that there is no review. So I love that it's mastery. I prefer a mastery approach, but there is no spiral review. What I love about Kate Snell's curriculum, Math with Confidence, is that she has review at the start of the lesson and spiral review at the end of the lesson, but the actual lessons are mastery based. And I just couldn't find that in any other curriculum. And so what I went with is this, because it is sort of a similar topic. It is way more spiral than I'm used to, but I am sort of liking that as we've been getting into it. It seems to be working. The only struggle is that there are some, I don't want to say holes, but just it was hard to exactly transfer from Math with Confidence to this one. And so I am having to spend still some time with him to go through some of these concepts, and that's okay. I know that as he gets it, it will be less and less involved for me, and a lot of this can be done independently. So during our independent hour, he is working on this, and he needs about 10% of my attention for questions. And I'll also try to just spend some time going through things with him that I know he hasn't learned yet. And so we have switched to this, and I'm very excited about this, and it seems to really be alleviating that tension in our schedule. So I think this is going to be a win. I'm not sure. I love that this was only $5 to try out. And if it's really not working, really not what we want, we can go right back to Math with Confidence if we need to. So I know I've told you that I had an idea for a video about making Math with Confidence more manageable, and I have already filmed that video and was getting ready to edit it and post it, but it honestly felt like I wasn't being truthful since I knew that I was switching to Christian light education. Everything positive that I have to say about Math with Confidence is still true, but I wanted to share this update before I share that video if you are still interested in seeing that video. If your schedule allows you to use Math with Confidence, use it. We are still using it, just not for my 3rd grader. If you still would like to see that video and don't feel like it is misleading for me to share that information with you guys, then I would still love to share that video. Please let me know in the comments below. I have it mostly edited and ready to go, but I just wanted to be upfront with you and be truthful. And that is a main priority of my channel, is that I want to be truthful in what I'm sharing and what we have experienced in our homeschool. So let me know in the comments below what you think about that. And if there's anyone out there that has used Christian light education, please let me know in the comments below how it has gone for you. Now for the update on my 1st graders' individual subjects. So this was a switch that I really resisted for a long time because I really liked the curriculum, but for a long time now, she has not enjoyed the curriculum. It has worked, but she has not liked it. And that would be her phonics curriculum. So it is from phonics to reading. We've used this since maybe the 2nd week of school. We switched over to this, and it has been so solid and so great. But I think I shared in my first update that the readers were not the best, and that's kind of set the tone for the rest of the book. The phonics instruction is really solid, but my daughter really does not enjoy twaddle, which makes me very proud. But this book has all of the readers are not good. All of the readers are twaddle. All of the readers are twaddle. I want to use a harsher word, but that's the word I'm going to use. All of the readers are boring, silly reads with no real plot, and the art is not good. And then the other phonics work also has pictures that my daughter really doesn't like, and she is very sensitive to that. She can almost not focus if there's like a picture that she doesn't like. So I've tried sticky notes, I've tried coloring over things, tried covering it up, and we just can't get past it. And so every time I would pull this out, she would go, oh. And reading is her favorite. She's told me that. She's told other people reading is her favorite. She loves to read in her own free time. And so it really broke my heart for her to have that kind of reaction to reading in school. And so even though I have loved the way this goes through the phonics rules, I have really loved how strong of an approach it is, I decided that we needed to let it go and try something else for a bit. And if that something else doesn't work, we can go back. We only have about 10 weeks left of this, and we were moving through it at a fast pace, but it was just time to see if something else will work that she doesn't hate. And so what we've switched over to is another Christian light education pick, and that is learning to read. This is light unit 108. She's transferred beautifully into this, and is actually, once I got it, I realized it's a little bit behind where she is, which is fine. So she's going to be doing this. There's only 2 more units to go in this. I'm not sure that we need those 2 next units because she's learned all of those concepts already. And so after this, they suggest you go into reading. Just reading 1 is what it's called by Christian Light Education. So I've purchased the materials for that. We'll probably finish up this light unit and then jump to reading 1. It is just kind of a traditional curriculum. Pictures are simple and beautiful, but they're not cartoonish. That's what she really didn't like in the other book, is how cartoonish and sort of garish all of the other art was. So overall, this has been a really, really good switch for us, and I don't think we'll go back to from phonics to reading, even though it was a great program that I liked, minus the twaddle. So to me, this feels like the same strong, solid foundation. They have you do a lot of the same exercises, just in a more beautiful way. And for her math, we are sticking with math with confidence. For her, I am able to manage that amount of work. It's much easier. The third grade took a lot more time and a lot more work. So that is why we are keeping the math with confidence first grade. And now for my little guy, since I switched to Christian Light, for my first grader, I also decided to switch to Christian Light for my kindergartner. And so this is learning to read. This is the light units 101 through 105. This is the first teacher's guide. So they split it up. And for the first 5 booklets, you use one teacher guide. And for the second 5, you use another. And this has been amazing, amazing. I have loved every element of this curriculum. I feel like it has the writing piece that All About Reading doesn't have. It has the repetition of the good and the beautiful, but it has beautiful pictures in here. I mean, just simple, beautiful pictures, simple, beautiful activities. It has a lot of oral work, which All About Reading does not have, but Phonics 2 Reading does have, that I liked. So that's like blending words orally, segmenting words orally, a lot of things that help kids to sound out and then blend what they've sounded out together. So this, to me, has it all. We will see if my kindergartner continues to like it, but so far this has been just a wonderful, solid program. Now the reading has been a bit much for my 5-year-old, and so it incorporates handwriting, which I love, and the program for my daughter incorporates handwriting too. Handwriting and copywork and grammar and spelling and all of the things. But it's a little bit too much writing for my kindergartner. He struggles still with fine motor skills, which is totally fine. And so I will just have him write on the little whiteboard the letter 1 or 2 times, and that's it. The other times, if he needs to write, he can just orally tell me if he needs to write something, or he can write a check mark or something like that. So he's still doing some tracing and things like that, but I'm not pushing him to develop all these fine motor skills that he's not ready to develop yet. So that's the only thing I would say with this curriculum that we aren't doing, but the rest of it has been wonderful. I hope it continues to work for us. We are still doing some of the good and the beautiful lessons, but honestly, they are all just about the alphabet, which is great. That's wonderful. I knew that's what it was when I was buying it, but he wants to move on to read, and he knows enough letters where he can start reading. And so I wanted to start him with a reading program while still going back and doing some of the games from the good and the beautiful and some of the work in there if he's struggling with a letter or something. But really, you could start from 0 and start with this program. But since he's so interested, I'm okay with doing both here and there. The last thing to update is that, and because we are doing a more musical education this term, I've also enrolled my older 2 into piano lessons. One of my dearest friends, her mother-in-law, does piano lessons right here in town, and so on Wednesdays we go and have our piano lessons, and both kids are doing extremely well, and we're practicing those at home as well, and that's added a lot of richness to our education this term. So that is all for my huge update on how our school year is going. Overall, our family subjects are going incredibly well. Our schedule finally seems to be having a rhythm, and our individual subjects have been all over the place, but I hope to finish out the year in what we've chosen now. And I'm really excited about a lot of the resources that we've switched to, and about some of the changes that we've made that have helped our schedule feel a little bit lighter, like we can breathe a little bit more. So let me know in the comments below, what updates have you made to your family subjects or to your individual child's subjects? Let me know that I'm not alone in trying to problem solve with our curriculum, and let me know what read alouds you guys are enjoying right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.